We're talking almost within half an hour of Ofqual announcing this U-turn that they were going to now assess students based off centre assessed grades, so teachers' estimates. Theoretically, what does this mean for the Isle of Man students?
I think this is very good news after a whole week of uncertainty for Isle of Man students. What centre assessed grades are is an evidence-based grade that's originated with the teacher who knows the pupil well, then goes through the head teacher as well for quality assurance, then goes off to the board. But what we've seen is those being disregarded in the use of computer algorithms. Now on the Isle of Man, around about half of our exams are officiated by Cambridge International, and we're waiting for a decision from them about following the British lead that's been announced this afternoon. But I'm hoping we can get this change across the board so that no Isle of Man student is disadvantaged.
And how was the impact of both of them? Because Ofqual was, they still downgraded, as you say, around 42%. Cambridge was quite a worse situation from what I'd heard. Is that accurate?
It's been incredibly inconsistent. For instance, at Ramsey Grammar School with their English language IGCSE, about 92% of them were changed in some way. An awful lot of them goes downwards, and we've seen quite ridiculous changes with people going from an A to a B to a D, E, and even a U. And normally you don't turn up for an exam, you get a U. And these are people who've been working really hard. So I'd like to apologise to all those pupils and their families who've been really affected by this, and also some of the teachers. Because when I went round some of the schools on Thursday, the teachers themselves were almost in tears. For some of them, this was one of the worst days of their career.
Certainly, and I was there myself, speaking to some students at Ballacameen, and at Ballacameen they'll be particularly affected by this Ofqual U-turn. What sort of impact do you think that'll have straight away for these students? Do you think it'll be a bittersweet pill getting this news now today?
Yes, so I mean, in some ways, this decision should have been made weeks, even months ago. What we do now have a chance to do is try to put things right. For those students who didn't get the necessary grades to get into university, we can now hopefully readdress that and talk to those universities again with this new information. We can also deal with those students who want to go on, for instance, to sixth form or University College Isle of Man. We've already said that as a department we will honour the centre assessed grades rather than what are discredited results from a lot of the examining boards. And right from the start we said that we didn't want anyone's future or progress in terms of education or careers to be affected by a coronavirus pandemic. And hopefully now we can draw a line under this.
Because you, of course, tweeted this morning about this letter you've written to Cambridge. You mentioned you've asked them not to ruin young people's lives. Is that what's at stake here?
It is. And again, over the last few days, I've been contacted by lots of students and parents who wanted to go into subjects such as medicine or veterinary science who can't now because of what's happened. I don't know how we make that right. But what we can do is give them the grade that they deserved, work with the universities that they wanted to go to, and try to get them the places on the courses they deserve. They've worked really hard for this right the way through their careers, and this has really been taken away from them by a callous computer algorithm.
The first thing that came to my mind as soon as this news came through that this U-turn was going to be implemented was, how do you go back and change somebody's results retrospectively, because a result is a result? How do you then go back and change that and undo the damage it's caused so far?
It's incredibly difficult. I was talking to pupils who had their first GCSE, the first time they've ever opened an exam envelope. And it was a C when they expected an A. You can never put that right. You can never take that memory of disappointment and anger and frustration away from them. What we can do is work with teachers, and I'd like to thank all the teachers for their support during this very difficult time for all of us. They feel let down as well by this, and I know the teachers and all their union representatives have been campaigning very hard for this result. So we just need to get the confirmation from Cambridge International that they'll honour it as well for our men students, and then we can start to put things right for our pupils.
How confident are you on that result tomorrow?
I'm very cautiously confident. I'm trying not to be overconfident about anything over the last week. If Cambridge International do not follow this, I've already written to the Minister for Schools and Standards in England, asking him to intervene, and also some of the representatives of the UK government, including the chair of the Select Committee on Education. This problem is not going to go away. It needs to be sorted. It needs to be sorted now.
And we've seen, obviously, with Ofqual, England were the first to do it. And then this will affect us following on from that. If Cambridge were to change here, would that set a precedent for the rest of the UK and do it in the reverse sense of the way?
They need to do it across the board.
Right.
Cambridge International obviously deal with some of our exams, some of the Channel Island exams, but also quite a few of the independent schools in the United Kingdom and international schools around the world. We need to have a level playing field. We need all pupils who sat these exams to be judged in the right way, and the right way is to trust the teachers and actually honour the centre assessment grades.
Okay, you mentioned level playing field there. When I spoke to Annette Baker, head of Ramsey Grammar, on Thursday, she mentioned this has created an inequality, particularly because we have two different sets of students studying the exact same subjects, receiving different grades based on which exam boards they're doing. How does this affect, particularly, we've got one private school on the island, we have King William's, and then the rest state. How has this affected them? The King William's, are they independently assessed, so are they unscathed by this whole debacle?
Then unfortunately they're not unscathed. They use the International Baccalaureate, the IB, in terms of their final examination. I know that they've had similar issues. They're different to the ones we've had, but similar issues with the examination boards downgrading exam results, and that's affected their students as well. And certainly I'm quite happy to reach out for them and give them any assistance that is needed for them and their students, because the Isle of Man is one education service. We have lots of different schools, but at a time like this, we really need to club together and support each other for the good of the young people of this country.